So Jesus is born exactly where the prophet said Messiah would come, Bethlehem. And yet the prophet said this Messiah is not just human because he comes from Olam, Qadim Ma Olam. He's ancient. That's exactly what we can say about Jesus. Isn't that exactly what we say about Jesus?
Yeah, you do.
That he's the divine son who comes from eternity to become man. So why the rabbis saying baloney? The Tanakh doesn't teach it. I just gave you the rabbis. I didn't give you Christians.
In the first centuries AD, Migdal Eder was a special place used to enclose the flocks of sheep that would later be chosen as sacrifices at the temple in Jerusalem, a tradition dating back to the time of the prophet Jeremiah, around 585-580 BC. Targum Jonathan mentions Migdal Eder in Genesis 35:21, the place where Jacob set up his tent, as the place where the King Messiah will reveal himself in the last days. This text serves as evidence that even post-Christian Jewish interpretations continue to understand Migdal Eder in a Messianic context. Hello, everyone. In a moment, we will watch and discuss an intriguing dialogue between Mr. Shamounian, a Christian apologist, and a Jewish participant, tackling one of the most important topics of faith. Who is the promised Messiah? The focus of this discussion is the prophecy in Jewish tradition about the divine King Messiah, who is expected to restore the people in Jerusalem. Jewish scriptures clearly indicate that the Messiah's birth would take place at a very specific location, Migdal Eder, the Tower of the Flock in Bethlehem, Ephrathah. In Christian belief, this prophecy has been fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ, the awaited Savior. But what is the Jewish perspective on this prophecy? Do they recognize the same fulfillment? Let's take a moment to watch this Christian and Jewish dialogue video.
Okay, where will Messiah, Mashiach, come from? Watch here. This is Rashi again. Okay.
I know the Messiah is supposed to be from the Holy Land, from Israel.
Well, notice where, though. Watch here. And you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, you should have been the lowest of the clans of Judah for me. He shall emerge for me to be a ruler over Israel, and his origin is from old, from days of yore. So notice, this one, he's ancient, he's old, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, but who is this? From you shall emerge for me who?
The Messiah, son of David.
Where is he going to come from?
Shall emerge for me from
Bethlehem. Okay, but how old is he? This ruler is from where? Read it. How old is he?
Mikadem Yamei Olam. So he's from very old.
Wait, Adam Olam means he's from the beginning, from eternity, right?
Yeah, from eternity.
But wait, how can a human being be from eternity, from Olam?
And this speaks about the Messiah?
Yeah, right here. What did Rashi say? Oh, read it.
Yeah, it does.
And here, what does he say here? Read it.
Mashiach ben David.
Oh, Mashiach ben David. And he says, look, his origins from old. Before the son, his name is Yinon, meaning Mashiach was named even before the son. He's known as Yinon.
Yeah, it does say that.
But how can Mashiach be a mere man if he's from Qadim, from Me'olam, from eternity? And where he'll come from? Bethlehem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see where Jesus was born.
I thought he's from Nazareth.
No. He was raised in Nazareth. Where was he born? You can be born in Israel and raised in America, right?
Yeah.
So you're born in Israel and you're raised in Sweden. We're not talking about where you're raised, where you're born. Look where Jesus was born. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, he's born exactly where the prophet said Mashiach would come. In the days of Herod the king, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. And when Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he was inquiring of them where the Christ was to be born. Mashiach. Christ is from Greek. Christos, in Hebrew, Mashiach. But Greek, it's Christos. And they said to him, in Bethlehem, Judea. Now notice what they quote. For this is what's been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah. They just quoted Micah. Same prophecy we just read. And by no means, least among the leaders of Judah, for out of you shall come forth a leader who will shepherd my people Israel. Notice the Jews at Jesus' time believed that Micah 5:2 tells us where Messiah would be born. And Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And the rabbis agree. Micah 5 tells us where Messiah would come. Here it is. Chabad.org, Rashi's commentary. And you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, who's coming? Messiah, son of David. So Jesus is born exactly where the prophet said Messiah would come, Bethlehem. And yet the prophet said this Messiah is not just human because he comes from Olam, Qadim Ma'olam. He's ancient. That's exactly what we can say about Jesus. Isn't that exactly what we say about Jesus?
Yeah, you do.
That he's the divine son who comes from eternity to become man. So why the rabbis saying baloney? The Tanakh doesn't teach it. I just gave you the rabbis. I didn't give you Christians.
The Messiah awaited by the Jewish people to restore the people, and Jerusalem is the divine king Messiah. This divine Messiah is mentioned in related verses regarding the place where he will reveal himself, his birth in Migdal Eder, Tower of the Flock, in Bethlehem Ephrathah. In the 1st centuries AD, Migdal Eder was a special place used to enclose the flocks of sheep that would later be chosen as sacrifices at the temple in Jerusalem, a tradition dating back to the time of the prophet Jeremiah, around 585-580 BC. Targum Jonathan mentions Migdal Eder in Genesis 35:21, the place where Jacob set up his tent, as the place where the King Messiah will reveal himself in the last days. This text serves as evidence that even post-Christian Jewish interpretations continue to understand Migdal Eder in a Messianic context. Some interpreters refer to Micah 4:8 as a prophecy indicating that the Messiah, the King, will be revealed from the Tower of the Flock, Migdal Eder, which is associated with Bethlehem, located southeast of Jerusalem. Rachel's tomb remains in Bethlehem to this day, a building with a white dome and a menorah above it, inscribed Kubur Rahel, Rachel's tomb. Targum Jonathan translates the phrase V'ata Migdal Eder from Micah 4:8 as a personification of the Messiah, V'at Meshika de Israel. According to Alfred Edersheim in his book The Life and Times of Jesus the Messiah, chapter 6, Migdal Eder, the Tower of the Flock, was not for ordinary livestock grazing on barren land outside of Bethlehem, but was located near the city on the road to Jerusalem. Migdal Eder was a multi-story tower. When worship was centered at the temple in Jerusalem, the pastures around Bethlehem became the place where a special group of shepherds cared for lambs that would later become sacrificial offerings. These lambs had to be without blemish because they were to be holy offerings to God. They were under the special protection of the rabbinic authorities. The shepherds usually kept their flocks in the open fields 24 hours a day throughout the year. Ewes about to give birth were brought to a specific clean and well-maintained place to ensure that the lambs were not born defective or harmed. The place for placing the newborn lambs had to be clean and orderly so that the lambs would not become blemished from any impurities in the preparation area. One of the ways they cared for the newborn lambs was by wrapping them in swaddling clothes to protect them from injury. The prophecy in Micah 5:14 mentions someone who will rule Israel and bring shalom, peace, in alignment with this. In other parts of the Bible, this King Messiah is referred to as the Prince of Peace, Isaiah 9:5. His title as the Prince of Peace, Hebrew Sar Shalom, is not only found in his words, but also in his perfect actions, complete shalom, as he willingly became the Lamb for atonement, redemption, propitiation. Hebrew, kapora, Greek, hilasmos, meaning atonement or substitute. In Israel's worship, the role of the atonement sacrifice, kapora, is central. All of this is connected to the significance of the place called Migdal Eder. Jesus Christ is the perfect lamb as the atoning sacrifice, kapora. The statement that the Messiah is a divine Messiah is recorded in the views of the rabbis in Targum Jonathan 5:1 as follows. But you, O Bethlehem Ephratah, though you are too small to be counted among the thousands of Judah, from you will come forth for me the Messiah, who will rule over Israel, whose name has been called since ancient times, from the days of creation. The existence of the King Messiah has been since ancient times, from the days of creation. Therefore, the expectation of the King Messiah refers to the divine Messiah.